to accept the job, we've essentially got 4 choices here. So one is edit cost. We can send the job back to the customer with some price changes on there. Say they had some variations, or they wanted, you wanted to add some a cost there for shipping. Sometimes it's a bit hard to quote shipping until you've had a look at the job. So this is a mechanism you can use to send it back to the customer. Say, if you wanted to do shipping, this is how much it's going to cost. And that will give them an opportunity to say, hey, yeah, I'm happy to go ahead with that. Or they can say, no, I'll actually pick it up from the factory and just cancel that out there. So it just gives them that opportunity. Payment received is for if you've already received payment before you've accepted the job. Great, love to see it. Approved customers is for people that will have accounts with you. So it's entirely up to you if you want to go down that route of offering accounts to tradies. The system fully supports it if you do want to offer it. But what we find a lot of our people who are doing is using the waiting payment, because what this will do, it'll put the job into sort of a holding status, saying, sending an email back to the customer saying, hey, I'm happy to do this job, but I want part or full payment before locking that into our production schedule. So therefore you can make sure you can sort of manage your accounts that way as well. We also have an opportunity to send an estimated pickup date at this time. Obviously there's going to be a caveat that this is based on payment receipt. So it's just an estimate at this point based on how quickly you can get payment to us. Great, let's accept that job there. Beautiful. Let's mark this as payment received, because this is going to put it into an in production status. So same again, emailing back to the customer saying, hey, we've received your payment and we'll slot it into your production schedule. The site is keeping both you and the client informed of progression as the job sort of progresses through that cycle there. So you're not having to worry about making calls or sending out too many emails. The site is going to do a lot of that for you. And by keeping them updated with the current pickup date, that's going to save sort of phone calls back and forth to keep them informed. At this stage, we can also extend that estimated pickup date out. So it took them a week to send payment. We can blow that estimate out by a week there. So this is actually in production status now. So what we've actually got available now is the job CSV. So this is what contains all of that high-end data that the customer detailed throughout detailing the job. And that's what our production suite is going to be looking for. So let's download that and we'll fire up the production suite that we've got. So this is the first stage of it here. So this is our the first part in our production cycle. So I'm just going to import that Cabinetry.Online import file using the import, which is nice and simple. That's going to load up all that data. So we can clearly see there's that 657 that we entered there. We shouldn't have to actually make any interaction at this point. So if the customer did have variations, we could make changes to the job, but the job's been detailed by them. So we can just export this straight through to generating this. Because the idea is you shouldn't have to redetail any of this. The customer's done all that work during that initial stage, and everything should be right just to flow through to production for us. So what we're actually doing now is building out an actual detailed part list based on their specifications. So taking into account like the adjustable shelf and fixed shelf we did on that first cupboard, allowing for that setback. All of that information will be flowing through here to build out that detailed parts. Once they've finished detail or creating those parts, we can then proceed to nesting, which is also where we'll produce the CNC code and label data and all of that there. So it's actually finished there, so we can proceed straight to producing our nest as well. So this is just loading up. If we wanted to have a look at those parts at this stage, we could. So there's actually that first cupboard with those adjustable shelf and the setback on the fixed shelf there. So you can see all that's come through automatically for us. But let's push this straight through and generate the nest there. So my demo system here is set up for a BSE CNC, which is why I'm producing CIXs. Looking at the color board here, so we've just got those couple of doors and drawers that we've built, but we also got this additional route that we've included to salvage as much of this board as possible. So therefore we get the best offcut possible from that nest. We've got a couple of different tools to allow for these offcuts. So this is what we're looking at is just this sort of the basic one where we'll just do a single rip to basically salvage as much as possible, but we can also do a full perimeter route of this board, because that will give us the true size, which means we can produce a label, and that label can have the true size and color material listed on there. And seeing as if we do go down that route, we can actually auto add that back into our inventory that's available, so we can nest against it automatically the next time we use this color. So just lots of tools in there to sort of manage those offcuts as they come through. And we've got different sort of nesting strategies in terms of trying to utilize, either make sure you use that offcut in the next job, or hey, I have this offcut available. If you do get a better yield using it, do that. But if not, just get the best yield you can from the board that we've got. Because what we sort of find with offcuts, you sort of use an offcut to make an offcut, and yeah, there's a couple different sort of ways you can go about doing them. The other thing we can sort of look at here is the labels. So this is just a basic label template. We can customize this, and you can sort of make it your own if you want to sort of make it to mirror more what you currently do. We can, things like the contrasting edge warnings can appear here as well. And we also can control the edge thickness here that's coming through. So we can actually control the thickness of it to make it more prominent. So then again, whoever's feeding this into the edger can have a clear indication, yep, this is the part that needs to be edged, this is the side that needs to be doing, just to sort of help alleviate any sort of mistakes and anything at that point.